good morning, wherever you are in the world. Yes, it's me, Graham Moore, otherwise known as Daddy Dragon, and displaying on your screen the English Constitutional and Common Law All Day Seminar coming up this Sunday, 23rd of August 2026, 10 a.m. start till 4 p.m. Everyone welcome. Keystoke Village Hall, Crooks Lane, Keystoke, Weston-Super-Mare. And that is BS 22 9XJ. Beta Sierra or Bravo Sierra 22 9 X-ray Juliet. Or you can scan the code that's on the screen as we speak. Right, so all that information is out there. You can go and book it. The link is in the description. Good evening, good afternoon. Yes, it's me. I'm back this sunny Monday. There's a couple of things. So my car is completely kaput. The guy repaired it on Sunday, put everything on there, put a water pump on there, put a thermostat on there, flushed it all through, started it up, and there was masses of back pressure coming up through the water reservoir for the rad, and he said that basically means that your ceiling head gasket has gone, so it's pretty much sorted. He said you could do a repair on it, and he told me how much the repair would be, and I was like, oh no, not I can't spend even more money on it. So that cost me £400 and something, which was reasonable, bearing in mind I'd done it on a Sunday, the geezer, and it weren't his fault. He's a right nice fellow. So a vehicle come up that I went for. Unfortunately, this is the annoying bit. The mechanic said, I'll tell you what, if on Monday morning, I'll give you a lift up there. So he gave me a lift. It was 20 mile away from here. He gave me a lift there, and I arranged it on a Sunday with a better fella. Told the fella on the Monday, I'm on my way over, etc. Gets there, vehicle's not there. The woman said, can you just park over there? He's on the test drive with it. Someone's test driving it. I was like, straight away, I'm not getting involved with Dutch auction. Anyway, the fella pulled up who just took it for a test drive and give him the asking price. So he come up to me and said, yeah, sorry mate, it's just sold it. Considering it, so when you ain't got a vehicle in Devon, right, bearing in mind I don't live in a city, you can't get buses. Like buses are every 2 hours if they run at all. Nearest train station is 7 miles away. It's just a pretty hard walk through country lanes to try and get to it. So the fella basically, I wouldn't say he stitched me up, but that's not the type of thing I would do to someone. And that was it. So the mechanic knew someone who was selling a car, but it was too small. Bearing in mind, what's really naffed my car up is the mileage that I've been doing for seminars and going to these different places. That's not just me saying it, it's because you're loading the car up with all this gear, right? And I can feel the weight in the car, right? So eventually, I mean, don't forget, it was 21 years old. So it is shortly, once I find another car, going to the automakers in the sky, or the recycling centre in the sky, and we'll go from there. But so I've been trying to, because we got this, I've looked at hiring a van for the weekend, which I've got to get back to them and tell them if that is what I'm doing, but they're going to have to deliver it to me. I don't know how that's going to work because we're still out and about, etc. But anyway, cut a long story short, and then there's another option, which is a much cheaper car that I'm looking at for tomorrow, just to get us out of trouble. because you can't be without a vehicle. Do you know what I mean? I've got to go and get one. This isn't the type of place that you want to be without a car. But the one I'm looking at tomorrow, I'm thinking, oh, I don't know about it, but we'll wait and see. Let me have a quick look. So, other than that, there's a few things going on. One of the things I am not doing for a whole week, I've left a video up as my pinned stream on Twitter. I am not going on Twitter for 7 days, right? Not because they've banned me, because I've took myself. I'm stepping back from Twitter for 7 days. It's very distracting, and I think you need to. Although I'm looking at things that have come up, it's quite hard. It's almost an addiction, right? Not to comment, not to do anything. So I'm not. I'm just giving that a break. So I'm not even transmitting this to Twitter tonight. I'm going to leave that up there for a little while, 7 days, and then I'll be working on this side of it. And then, but anyone else can promote it and the pin feed and get it out there. We've also uploaded the little advert for it onto YouTube and to Rumble. So we need that shared on as many platforms as possible. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you, I'm not sure if I can do it. I don't suppose you want to get that little pamphlet for me from upstairs. Thanks, hon. I'm going to show you a few things that we're doing. There's a discussion that I was supposed to have tonight, but I was locked in to having a chat with a car dealer, and then went out, got something to eat. But there's things we're looking at doing, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of a brief on it, right? I take it everyone understands what this is, right? If you don't understand what it is, I'll bring it up on the screen and show you, because I think everyone should have seen something else happen. When I was on a show with someone, and they said you haven't even got you haven't got X, Y, Z, or you haven't got a pamphlet like America. And I said, well, our Constitution is the American Constitution. So what I'm going to do is show you something. Oh, hopefully I can put this other camera on. Do you all know what? I take it you've all seen this. Let's make sure I get anything. Everyone understands what this is. Right, so I'm going to put it over there. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully. I take it you all know what this is. This is basically the Constitution of the United States of America, right? Its only keepers, the people, George Washington, right? And then if you look at the other side, this is the back page. I, as one of we, the people of the United States, affirm that I have read or I will read the US Constitution and pledge to maintain and promote its standard of liberty for myself and for my posterity, and do hereby attest that by my signature. And there was the signature of George Washington. I'm going to get to why I'm actually showing you this. It's important that people understand that learning from the founders, the power under the Constitution will always be in the people. It is entrusted for certain defined purposes and for a certain limited period to representatives of their own choosing, and whoever it is executed contrary to their interest or not agreeable to their wishes, their servants can be undoubtedly and will be recalled, right? So everyone should understand, again, There's another one there from Thomas Jefferson. On every question of construction, let us carry ourselves back to the time when the Constitution was adopted. Recollect the spirit manifest in the debates instead of trying meaning that may be squeezed out of the text or invented against it. So invented against it. Think about what they're saying because these are really important quotes. Um, Confirm to the probable one to which it was passed. And then there's another one. The powers delegated by the proposed constitution to the federal government are few and defined. Those which remain in the state governments are numerous and indefinite, right? So that was the Federalist. Influence is no government. George Washington, right? So again, it tells you everything in there that you would want to know. Now I've had this book for quite some time. I'm going to go through some of it so you understand. Contents: U.S. Constitution amendments, Declaration of Independence, index to the U.S. Constitution, remembering significant dates, celebrating the Constitution, and then various other elements, a farewell address, etc. But all of this information is given to the people, and they're taught this in school, right? Or used to be. Let me take that off the screen a sec. So hopefully people will see all of this. And then what I'm going to do is take you to various elements of this. And why is this so important? Because there's elements to this that people need to be aware. So there's the amendments to the Constitution of the United States. An amendment basically means a Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments come from England, not the British, but the English. So there it is there. Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redressing grievances. Right. Well, Article 1 directly come from England, and there was 2 or 3 different elements of it. What they did was codified it in a single paragraph. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's because it was a pre-existing right. It was in the English Bill of Rights. And it was not only a pre-existing right from the English Bill of Rights, and it was affirmed in the English Bill of Rights as being a pre-existing right. It was an Anglo-Saxon right. It was an ancient custom. Amendment 3, no soldier shall be in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. So the first 10 amendments, Bill of Rights, were ratified effective from December the 15th, 1791. Now, all of those come from England, right? The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oaths of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. That comes from England. And again, if you look at Entrick versus Carrington in the 1700s, that's literally a direct element of our Constitution. Now, most of this people will already know, but Amendment 5, no person shall be held to answer for capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. Bearing in mind, grand juries come from England, It was the British who removed them in the early 1930s. And in cases arising from land or naval forces. So why am I showing you these? Because it's really important that people understand what this document is and what this booklet contains, right? So on the back, it's got various elements and it shows you the signatories. That's the outside page. It's a little booklet that anyone can carry about, and it tells you exactly what your constitution is. Now, we have got something similar with the English Constitution Party, which is this document. No false promises, rights to the people, supporting pensioners' rights, obey. You notice that a pensioner was raped in London by an Eritrean. I'm sure that he would understand that people need to be protected and that our government is not to do that. So there's the Bill of Rights on the front, here to protect you, right? Why is it important? Because this document then goes through, it tells you where the laws come from. What's different about the way the English do it, right? It's not that you haven't got the rights, you have got the rights, but it's covered in more documents, right? So through this, I tell you where these laws come from. You'll note that all of these massively pre-exist in the United States of America, right? And then you've got Declaration of Rights. On the other side, you go through English Bill of Rights, Coronation Oath Act, Crown and Parliament Recognition Act, Act of Settlement, etc. And then you've got one there that deals with various other bits. And then you've got the right of the realm of England and its subjects to defend themselves. It's a right, not a privilege. The right to a jury, the right to remain silent, the right to govern ourselves via county, district, and parish councils, the right of property freehold, the right to earn a living, the right to full freedom of navigation and trade, the right to bring up and protect our children, the right of habeas corpus, that the pretended power of suspending laws is illegal, that the right to assert English ancient rights and liberties, the pretended power of dispensing with laws is illegal, right? So again, we're going to go through some of that, especially at this seminar. I'm going to be talking it quite a bit in detail about what's going on there, right? So at the top there, it tells you what it's all about. Below are the common law constitutional rights belonging to the English. And then at the bottom, it tells you above are the common law constitutional rights removed by the British establishment, right? So everyone understands what it's about. On the back, it tells you who we are and what we are. So why am I showing you this? Because what I'm doing is, and many people are going to be helping me do this, it's not just me who's doing it. The English Constitution Society are going to create a booklet similar to this. It's going to be in A4 size. So if you want to know what A4 size looks like, it's this on the screen as I speak, right? So it will open up. A6, isn't it? Oh, sorry, A6. It's going to be, right. So, which means, and thank you for Janet as the producer, giving me a live correction. Thank you. Right. So this one here is just a leaflet that opens up. Yeah. So you can all see that's our standard leaflet. They're going to be changed into the English Constitution Society. This is the American booklet, right? And this, I think, is at 26 pages. Oh, sorry, 46 pages, it says on there. So just to make sure you're aware. So this is an A5 flat, right? So if I unfold it, it's A5. It's going to be a 50-page booklet, and it's going to have the outside cover is going to be card like the same as this one, and the only thing that's different is there's more pages in this because we're also going to be explaining to people. So the images on the front will be the images of the people that were crucial to the Constitution, right? It's also going to be copyrighted to the English Constitution Society, right? and this is not about me, remember that. It's about all of us and about everyone learning what's going on. So this document will have 50 pages. You'll be able to go through it, and it will explain the English Constitution in layperson's terms, but will also detail, when we go through our rights, I will then have in brackets how it relates and how them elements relate to the American Constitution. So the Americans will then understand where they got their Constitution from, right? So it's a double educational pamphlet. It's going to be 50 pages, but it will also make reference to what I'm going to describe as 3 volumes, which I'm going to be working on. But the 3 volumes can take some time. And the reason why there's this is a separate element, right? Free volume, because you're never going to be able to write up all of the English constitutional laws, what happened, who did what, and explain it to the people in a single volume. But what I can tell you, I recently, so I'm hoping everyone understands that. That's how it's gonna be that size, right? And you'll be able to flip through it, and and there's going to be another one that's done for children with a different type of illustration in it, so kids will look at it and sort of get to understand what's going on. Does everyone sort of understand what I've just said? What I'm doing now is going back to my other screen, so everyone understands what I'm talking about, and then I'll come back to it in a sec. So the booklet, I haven't worked out a price yet. I am waiting for a price to come back from our printer, and our printer is known to Kew Gardens. I've already asked him for a price. Hopefully he's going to come back to me. Not sure if he's come back yet, but I think he has, or he may have done. Right, let me have a quick look and see if I can see anything that's come up from him yet. Don't think I've got a price back off him yet, but he will come back to me at some stage. He is very good. Right, so let me come off of that. So that's basically part of what we're doing. The second part of what we're doing is we are creating, and I can't say too much about this yet because I've got to have a proper discussion with some other people, meaning the internal groups that we've got. But it involves a community interest limited company, not limited by shares, but limited by liability. It's like a £1 liability. That's it. But it has to be very strict in its articles of association and articles of formation, to say that it is not for profit. Because what I want to make sure of is everyone out there watching this and listening to this understands I do not want to earn money out of this, right? It is solely about educating people on their constitutional rights, educating people on what really happened. And I'm talking about the Glorious Revolution. I'm talking about Oliver Cromwell, not the lies that have come out. And there is something specific I want to show you. Again, I had a very brief conversation with someone tonight in reference to this, because it's really important that people understand it. Let me see if I can find the case of the Knights. That's not what I want. Mr. Selden's argument. So this is a great book. I've still got to get through most of it, but there's elements to this that people need to understand. Let me just see if I can find it for you. Proposition of that long parliament, protestation. 155. I think it's 155. I'm not sure where that part is, but I'll have a look at that in a couple of minutes. I want to come back to that one as well. So I'm unfortunately going to. Declaration of Sports. The reason why this is important is because there's quite a bit going on there. Dangerous. 190 trillion act. It's not that one. I've got to go and find this for you. One thing I hate doing, I feel quite tired as well, by the way, because when I'm about to do something and spend some money, I'll lose sleep. Not because I'm tight, because I'm always worried that if you do something and you make the wrong decision, you're pretty much in the shit. Not in the petition of right. It's called the Protestant Act. 155. 155. I think it's at 155. Right, it is this part. So I want to just make sure, because people think, I'm sure they think I'm going a bit cranky when I start talking about so bearing in mind this is an old book, right? And but what it does is it tells you the truth about what's actually gone on in the background. So let me see if this tunes in and comes into proper focus. It may not come into focus just yet. Right. So the Protestation, May the 3rd, 1641, Rushworth, right? We the knights, citizens and burgesses of the Commons House in Parliament, find in the grief of our hearts that the designs of priests and Jesuits and other adherents to the See of Rome have of late been more boldly, frequently put in practice than formerly, to be undermining and danger of the true Reformed Protestant religion in His Majesty's dominions established, and finding also that there have been and having just cause to suspect there still are, even during the sittings in Parliament, endeavours to subvert the fundamental laws of England and Ireland, and to introduce the exercise of an arbitrary and tyrannical government by most pernicious and wicked councils, practices, plots, and conspiracies, right? And that the long intermission and unhappier breach of parliaments have occasioned many illegal taxations whereby the subjects have been prosecuted and grieved. And the divers innovations, diver basically means a dissident or someone with a different idea of what England, how England should work. Innovations and superstitions have been brought into the church, multitude driven out of His Majesty's dominions, jealousies raised and fomented between the king and his people, a popish army levelled in Ireland, and two armies brought into the bowels of this kingdom to the hazard of His Majesty royal person and the consumption of the revenue of the crown and the treasure of this realm. And lastly, finding, and it goes into more detail of what this is actually about. So all I'm doing is just showing you what they said. So if people think I'm not actually telling you what has gone on because it is really important, bear in mind in 1829 we allowed Catholics back into Parliament and positions of authority, but in 1829, that's not that long ago in the history of England, we still banished Jesuits. That's been completely reversed now, right? So everyone keeps blaming the Jews, blaming the Jews, blaming the Jews. whilst there is a Jewish mafia, and I completely understand that, right? And the depth of that Jewish mafia. What people don't understand is the Jesuits have been banned from more countries than anyone else. They completely hate moderate Catholics, and they completely hate Protestants. They don't like anyone, and they are the military ring of the Roman Catholic Church, right? Have therefore thought to join good ourselves in declaration of our united affections and resolutions to make this ensuring uh, protestation. Now, people must understand. Again, I'm going to go back to my normal camera a second. Oh, I'm going back to my normal camera again. I don't want people to think in any way or form that I'm having a pop at Catholics. I'm not, right? What I'm saying is there are groups of people outside of the realms of the Protestant religion that do not like the Protestant religion. One of the reasons why Cromwell was badly spoke about in for many years after the restoration of a Stuart king was quite simply that the Jesuits were putting out propaganda against him. That's why they dug him up and done all sorts of things. Now, what happened under the Stuart king again was we got tyranny back in a big way, and then Prince William or Prince of Orange come over because a lot of our people had to leave and go to Holland. He come over. He was asked to come over. Anyone who tells you that we've been invaded is nonsense. Anyone that tells you that he lets the Jews back in, you should remind them that the Jews was already in Scotland in a big way, because Scotland was a separate jurisdiction completely and had a separate executive, was a completely separate nation. So when the Jews, some of them left, some of them didn't, they went to Scotland and they went to France and they went to what's now called Germany. It wasn't Germany at the time. And they went to Belgium, right? Just to make sure everyone's aware of that. Don't be under any illusions that Cromwell just opened the doors and let them flood back in. They was already here and they was already in Great Britain, right? What Cromwell did not do was give them any special privileges. He wasn't into that. He was only into Protestant. He was only into Jesus Christ. He did not like the Church of England because he believed that the Church of England had taken on the same processes, manifestations, whatever you want to describe it as. Sometimes he says superstitions, right? As the Roman Catholic Church, and he basically was saying, we're not getting a Roman Catholic Church and then sticking an English flag on it. That's not happening. You're going back to learning the Bible as it is. You're going back to only walking in the same footsteps as Jesus Christ. That's what Christianity is about, right? So why am I saying all this? Because I think it's really important for people to understand that the same thing is happening again, and it's fairly obvious to me. I almost feel, I'm not suggesting that I think there's some really bad Jews out there, by the way, and they're certainly they're not doing anyone any favors. I think that's already been acknowledged from the US side, but I think the Jesuits are far more dangerous, and I think that everything else going on is a distraction. If you look at Anthony Fauci getting an award from the Jesuit Society for a work he did on COVID, I think you start to realise, and don't forget their oath talks about poisoning us, right? So I've got to have some of this. I keep choking. Right. So there's lots and lots of different bits of information that I want to throw out there at the same time. Right, so what we're going to be doing is creating the English Constitution Society as a full-on CIC. There's some other things that I can't talk about yet, but once we're all up and running, I will talk to you about it. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at some of the things that we can do as an English Constitution Society. It's going to be important so there's got to be a discussion off of the show with some other people, and then we'll work out exactly how we're going to do it. But once you realise what we're doing, we're going to be the only people anywhere doing what we're doing. And and it's part of the CIC in proof, if you want to call it that I'm not interested in earning money out of this, apart from probably getting a salary, and it won't be outrageous. I'm not going to be driving a Rolls Royce. I'm certainly not that ineffective or even lease a car, even if it's a decent car. My direct answer is with what's known as the lock-in. If I died in 30 years' time, Janet don't like it if I talk about dying in 10 years' time. Right, if I died in 30 years' time, and we're all still running this, and more people have come on board, some of us obviously pass away in that time frame, but the objectives and the articles of the English Constitution Society cannot be changed, right? Once you've locked it in, you've locked it in. And it can, and that money and what you accumulate, and one of the things that we're doing is building. We want to create a museum of England and English law, but from the view and vision of the subject of the realm of England. Right, there will be positives there for Scotland and Ireland, and obviously Wales. But people would be told the truth, not. What we're setting up is actually telling people the truth of history, and everything they've erased from us will be bringing back with a vengeance, and there will be vengeance on the Jesuits. That's it. That's basically what we're going to be doing. So I can't say more until the full discussions are there. But it also means it makes it once that's in place, the people who want to give us grants, and they do, right? Once all that's in place, they feel more comfortable because they know that a lock-in is in there, right? And that lock-in means exactly that we are out there to educate. We are an educational constitution society. We talk about England and the benefits of England and the English common law and the Constitution to the rest of what was known as the Commonwealth, right? And then we can also talk some other bits as well. Now, just to make sure you're aware of this, because I've brought this up somewhere else. Let me have a look and see if I can find it for you. I actually had a video. Where this is, I don't know. Now, there is a video. If I can go and find it on my actual main screen, I bet I can't find it for you. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put this up there. You'll get what I'm talking about. On your screen, this is Alison Young, and she's a professor of public law, I believe, at the University of Cambridge, and law commissioner for public law and law in other places, right? But I want to make sure I say, so first of all, she gets a lot wrong. She gets one piece right, but she gets a lot, including not knowing where our constitution come from and the fact that we haven't got a written constitution when we most definitely have, right? Whilst I don't want to be too disparaging against professorships of Cambridge University, but I think we can all understand the quality of their professorships, right? And the quality of their research. I'm going to read out part of this so you all understand what's going on, right? This article distinguishes between parliamentary sovereignty and parliamentary legislative supremacy, right? Which I've been telling people that. So that first part is bang on. Sovereignty is an abstract concept focusing on the power to enact and modify the rules which constitute governmental institutions and their relative powers. Does a bit more than that, including the power to make law, referred to as foundational constitutional provisions. Legislative supremacy focuses on the relative power of institutions to enact legislation which is legally recognised as the highest source of law, in particular legal system. It argues that whilst the Westminster Parliament is not and should not be sovereign, it should have legislative supremacy. I'm not saying it shouldn't. I don't agree with that, but it is not. It is not sovereign, right? Parliament is not sovereign, as sovereignty is shared between Parliament and the courts. She misses out a crucial element. It's shared by Parliament, the courts, and the monarchy, because the monarchy is a particular constitutional function, right? That's how it started to go wrong. But there is a fourth element to that, right? Which isn't directly related to the making of laws, but does give an indication to whether the population find law repugnant and therefore unlawful, and that is the power of the jury, right? Which they're trying to get rid of. So whilst both Parliament and courts may assert the ability to change foundational constitutional provisions, both need to agree to these changes for them to be effective. In fact, a third person does, which is the monarch. And the fourth element is us. Right? All of this would be in a pamphlet so people can go directly to it and understand why that is, right? Parliament needs to have legislative supremacy to ensure that it is not able to change these provisions alone. This provides greater legitimacy for foundational constitutional provisions in the UK, which lacks a codified constitution enacted in a manner different from the making of ordinary legislation. Now, she gets that bit almost completely wrong, right? I'm going to highlight it if I can. And here it is. Let's hopefully I can bring that up. Let's see if I can bring that up on the screen. No, it's not allowing me to do it. It's doing it in the wrong place. Are you still there, by the way? I'm watching me. So enacted in a manner different from making ordinary legislation. Now, the Glorious Revolution, and in particular before that as well, there's something called a Convention Parliament. That is different. It's the highest form because it's the people and the lords. And the Glorious Revolution was very specific in saying that the English Bill of Rights was forever. And Parliament, by fraud, has removed areas or parts of the English Bill of Rights, which it was out of its jurisdiction. It was ultra vires. It was never allowed to do that. And for the person that created this whole document to say any different, let me see if I can go and find you. There's actually, let me see if I can find the history on it in my channel. There's actually an element of this. I've got to go back through it as well. Hopefully I can find it for you and bring it up on the screen. Where have I put that? Maybe not. Let's see if I can go and find it. Breaking news updates. Not that one, not that one. That's the one. This is the video. Let me see if I can share this with you. Copy the whole thing. Now, what I need people to be very careful of is don't take this whole lecture, take it with a pinch of salt, because there's some things that she got very, very wrong here. And what I'm not happy with is the level of education of these people. So I'm going to be share this tape, and I'm just going to play a little bit of it. So she's got constitutional principles, constitutional statutes, fundamental principles of the common law, right?
Intention of Parliament to override a constitutional statute. And we know from cases like HS2 that there can be almost like a hierarchy between different constitutional statutes and different constitutional principles. What happens if a constitutional statute tries to override an earlier constitutional statute? What do we do in that situation?
So, just to make sure I'm clear on this, to everyone watching this, she has got, this is a professor, a Cambridge professor of law, who is teaching our judges, right? And she doesn't understand the difference between a convention parliament and the enactments of that convention parliament and an ordinary parliament, right? She's probably never read the original English Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Reasons, and the original Act of Settlement, which was an extension of the English Bill of Rights. This woman, not only is she a professor of law teaching our future judges and barristers and solicitors at Cambridge University and Oxford, right? Because she's also, I believe, a fellow at Oxford, right? And she is misinstructing people on what the English Constitution is. And the only way that people can get the real stuff out there, and I just want to make sure I'm clear on this, if I can find you the element that I want, which I think is this one, right? I just want to make sure I say this to people. Is that volume 1? It is, right? So we go back to my camera for a second, because I want you all to remember everything I tell you, right, is bang on the money. I'm going to take you to page 14 again of this particular book, right? And to the bottom of that book. Hopefully I'll get over there and see if I can push it down, right? It appears that she's never read Law and Custom and the Constitution, Anson, Volume 1, 2 and 3. It appears some of these people are making it up as they go along, right? And as shocking as that sounds, that's exactly what I believe they're doing. Now, this is page 14, and this is about the Constitution of England, right? The Crown is not sovereign, nor is either houses of Parliament, still less than the ministers or servants through whom the Crown conducts the executive business of the government. But each of these stands in established relation to the other and to the general body of citizens, and of the relations, some fixed by law and some by custom, right? What does custom mean? It means ancient custom and law, right? Let me get back off of that one. So all I'm doing is trying to tell people that our barristers and lawyers are being misrepresented, because what the Marxists did was they took control of the education institutions, including our complete schooling systems, now our private schools as well, but most definitely also the universities. And there's a number of universities in this country that need to be shut down. All their tickets need to be pulled, right? So anyone who got a degree from Cambridge, Oxford, there's about 4 others, including the London School of Economics, and like I say, there's about 4 or 5. They are so corrupt in their teaching that anyone who's got anyone who has got a degree from them, a master's, anything, any form of qualification, it needs to all be annulled because of the level of corruption in them universities, right? And the worst principle of this is that when someone who is working class that can read and write, that then teaches the Constitution to people as it should be, right, in the eyes and views of us, the people, right? I'm going to bring something else up on the screen and see if you can actually see it, right? I don't think that you will be able to see it, but we'll see if you can. Let's go back and see if I can find it for a second. It's not on there. Let me go back to that one. Constitutional acts. Let's see if I can find this. Once I've brought this up on the screen, you should understand again what I'm trying to get at. Hopefully, where is that one gone? Prime. Why is it I can never find anything on this laptop when I want it? It seems to go to all different places. I'm only looking for a particular thing. I've already brought it up once. Maybe I should bring it up again. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can go back to my main screen. Let me go back to that main screen. I'll see if I can bring it up here because it's important that people see it. It's not there, but it might be on this one. So let me add a background. What was the one I put up on there tonight? Oh, there it is. Right, so I'm going to bring it up on the screen and I'll load it, create a background, and I'll put this on the screen for you as we speak. Now I'll take my screen off. So you should be able to see this on your screen, right? William Pitt, I've shown this on the show before, but William Pitt, the first Earl of Chatham, 1708 to 1778, instead of, this is a direct quote from, and this is in the parliamentary files, right? Instead of the arbitrary power of the king, we must submit to the arbitrary power of the House of Commons. If this be true, what benefit do we derive from the exchange? Question mark. Tyranny, my lords, is detestable in every shape, but none so formidable as where it is assumed and exercised by a number of tyrants. But, my lords, this is not the fact. This is not the Constitution. We have a law of Parliament, we have a statute book, and the Bill of Rights. And what I think I've just seen is my camera has just gone off. Right, hopefully you can all hear me again. Can everyone hear? Can you all hear me? Hopefully you can all hear me. Touch wood, you can hear me. Simon Lacey. Let me have a look. Kew Gardens. Bobby Martin. Mr. and Mrs. English, I can hear you. Well done. Right. So, not sure if you heard this before, but William Pitt, the first Earl of Chatham, 1708 to 1778. Instead of the arbitrary power of the king, we must submit to the arbitrary power of the House of Commons. If this be true, what benefit do we derive from the exchange? ? Tyranny, my lords, is detestable in every shape, but none so formidable as where it is assumed and exercised by a number of tyrants. But, my lords, this is not the fact. This is not the Constitution. We have a law of Parliament, we have a statute book, and the Bill of Rights. So I want everyone to understand that when you then get someone is plainly ignorant as to the person in the video that I put out earlier, if you haven't got it again, I will send it out to you, and I'd also send you out a link, because she gets so much she gets some right, don't get me wrong, but it's like, this is a bit like the free man of the landers, right? They get so much wrong that in the end what they're doing becomes destructive. The same as this professor at law. And again, people like Restore Britain are not really listening to be fair, they're not really listening to me. They consider that they're superior because they've got degrees. And again, there's many people there that will be Catholic, right? Now, I'm not having a pop at Catholics. I'm just telling you, the Jesuits were nothing to do with the Protestants. And that's what people need to start looking at. In a pretty big way. So I've just sent that out to you. What I'll do is send out again this other element, because this was important. I'm not sure if you can get to that or not, but there is a link to it, right? This is the person. Hang on a minute. It's not allowing me to. It's not allowing me to pick it up off the screen. No. Parliament is not sovereign, and it's a good thing too, right? So part of what she's saying, I absolutely agree with, but there's no point in putting a header out in the way that she's doing it, and then getting so much wrong after it, right? It's almost nonsense. Parliament is not sovereign, and it's a good thing too. I absolutely agree with that. But she's almost entirely skipped the other parts. She skipped the crown or the monarchy, I should say, and she skipped the jury completely. Now, anyone having this discussion needs to be talking about our constitution, and anyone who says, and I quote, which we lack a codified constitution enacted in a manner different from the making of ordinary legislation. The reason why the European Convention on Human Rights, and by the way, most of that is qualifiable, in other words, it's not inalienable like our Bill of Rights is. The reason why it is taken and respected by our judges is because it was ratified, one, but two, it was put into domestic law with the Human Rights Act of 1998. Why is that important? Because we had a convention and we enacted a law that could not be changed. It's called the English Bill of Rights, the Act of Settlement, the Declaration of Rights. Sir William Blackstone said exactly that, that we now have a contract in law, right? And that is how the monarchy passed to the generation it is now. So I want everyone just to make sure all of that is going to be in this little booklet, and it will explain in layman's terms how and why you're being stitched up. It will also have a small passage in the back that will explain what the problems are and how to solve it, right? Because we're about solutions. One of the problems is they have adopted in various issues something called dearthitude, which is Roman law jurisdiction that should not exist in any common law jurisdiction. And then I will go through various other elements of how you can solve the problem of what's going on and how it's being done. Hopefully, everyone understood that. So I'm still going to be trying to look for cars and sorting my life out if I can. That's it. Anyone got any questions? And don't forget the link to the seminar, and I'm going to be putting that back up onto the other screen now. It's important that people look at this. Where's it gone? I think, I'm not sure if this is the one. I think it is. Let's see if it comes up on the screen. English Constitutional Seminar, 23rd of August 2026, 10 a.m. start till 4 p.m. And we will be doing quite a bit, but we are going to be working on this. We're aiming through grants from the US for the booklet that I spoke about to get a minimum of 100,000 copies put out there, and then start to increase what we're doing with seminars, etc. And then from that booklet and from other books, we will be teaching people how to deliver the courses, so everyone understands that we do have a constitution, that the Glorious Revolution and the Convention Parliament was not an ordinary parliament. And we will be teaching people you cannot touch that. If you do, you tear up the constitution, you tear up in excess of 300 years worth of law, and you tear up the peace agreement, and we are in effect in an independence war again against the Jesuits in its biggest form, right? And I think there's lots of people out there stirring the pot against the Jews. I think the biggest problem is the Jesuits, right? I think they are far, far, far more organised. I think they are in everywhere where it counts, and I think they're highly dangerous to England. They always have been. Right. Any other questions? So don't forget, I've still got to try and sort out a car. Either that, or I'll be hiring a van for the weekend, which is going to cost us money to do that. So hopefully everything goes well. That's it. Good night. God bless. Neil Russell. The English is good enough for America, but not good enough for England. The reason is we've been conned in quite a big way, the people. That's it. Don't forget, try and get this out to as many people as possible. And don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Cavos 96. Gee, you after a motor? Yes. Well, Sue Ellen, thank you, Dee Dee, and good night. God bless. Take care.